Much, Chairperson, and it's a great honor to be here after a few years, and of course, coming from a country which is now being projected as a country to either collapse or survive in 2014 or beyond. Today, when I'm here, of course, I want to project another picture of my country, Afghanistan, and that's why I hope no one considers that my background or my center or my ideas come from a state point of view or government point of view, but rather it's what I believe I've gathered from speaking to various Afghans who are living in Afghanistan and looking forward beyond 2014 into 2024 and, of course, a long life Afghanistan. The title I've selected for today is that 2014, which is the time that the U.S. withdrawal is and the international forces withdrawal is scheduled. 2014, a shift to stability or to a failed state. A failed state, collapse of the state, or an end game in Afghanistan with the U.S. military presence and the NATO member states' military presence in Afghanistan is what is projected as the end of a post-Taliban Afghanistan. And in many international media and in various political circles, I can say in Washington, in London, if you talk about Afghanistan, there is an ambiguity about post-2014, and always there's a question that what will happen to Afghanistan. Will it once again see and witness a repeat of its history, which was a civil war, emergence of various militias, and of course collapse of the state, and coups during the Soviet era. This is because every news that comes out of Afghanistan is news of corruption, it's news of a state that's not functioning, it's news of insurgency, and of course it's news of blasts and suicide attacks. But there are few people who are talking of the other side of the story, who are talking of 20 plus millions of the Afghan population who are looking for an Afghanistan that they have experienced in the past 10 years, that they have enjoyed their lives, they have enjoyed their pride and dignity, and of course they have had to face many challenges in their country as well. Right now I want to talk about the new, the second picture of my country, and that picture is that Afghanistan will survive. Afghanistan will survive beyond 2014. This is not something that the president of Afghanistan says. This is something that the hope of Afghans beyond 2014 says. This is something that our daily lives in Afghanistan says. And this is something that a majority of Afghans who are supporting democracy and a fragile democratic state in Afghanistan says. There are various reasons stated for the survival of Afghanistan beyond 2014, and I just want to talk about a few of them, which are the main and key reasons for the survival of Afghanistan, even if the United States withdraw from this country, and even if the 100,000 plus international forces will get out of Afghanistan in 2014. That I don't think a major part of these forces will leave based on various reasons that I'll come to talk about. The first reason for the survival of Afghanistan is the political will that exists among the elite political community in Afghanistan who fought a civil war in this country in 1990s and who were the main key drivers of the post-Taliban Afghanistan and the formation of a new state in the country. Those who are now being part of the state or those who are political opposition in the country. I believe there are majority of Afghans in the Afghan political actors in comparison to the Taliban, Hizb Islami, Haqqani network, and other terrorist groups who are there and, of course, fighting for another Afghanistan, which I don't believe is an Afghanistan acceptable for many Afghans who have returned after decades of being immigrants to various capitals in the West or in the East. These political elites, they have been in an Afghanistan that survived them, that taught them that life in a stable, even a stable, fragile democracy is quite different from their life in a civil war, and they are the ones who have major political and economic interest in current Afghanistan and the future of Afghanistan. The sons of, I can, as an example of what I want to say about the current political elite community is that their sons, their daughters, they are the people who are no longer commanders, who are no longer military officers, but they are well-known, educated Afghans in the most prestigious universities in the United States, in UK and Europe. And the second generation of these, the current Afghan political elites, they never think that they would once again come as commanders to take and to have and to fulfill their interests in Afghanistan. You could see that when President Rahmani died last year as a result of a suicide attack, his son, who replaced him in the Reconciliation High Peace Council, he is a graduate of Harvard University, and of course is one of the open-minded Afghans who believed that to follow his father's path and direction is not to go to a civil war or have to put a collective of militias in Badakhshan. But he came to central Kabul and now is part of the power-sharing structure. Another sign that I see that those who were the drivers of a civil war, they no longer go to a civil war and they no longer want to see the collapse of a state in Afghanistan is that their economic interests. For many who were commanders and who did not know about anything about life but to live in the mountains and to fight, for them now there is something else, that is investment, that is how to use economic integrity for their life and how to live a better life. The second reason for me as an Afghan to see a better future for Afghanistan and survival of my country in post-2014 is the political and security structures that are being established in the last 10 years with the help of the international community. Although these structures are considered fragile, they are, although they are not functioning as ideal democracies, although we cannot expect from these structures to be ideal structures and function well in giving the civil rights and basic human rights and citizenry rights of a country like the United States, but certainly we have these institutions in place that now guarantees this rule of law and civil order in place, and they are functioning to defend Afghanistan for its future. For that reason, what many Afghans feel pride and are hopeful about their future is that these structures, they have the capability to survive with the help of international actors in Afghanistan beyond 2014, and of course in a decade of transition where we have to push forward for these institutions to get strengthened and to function well in a way that they should guarantee the future of Afghanistan. The third point in regards coming to have a more security and counterinsurgency centric approach to today's Afghanistan is the new trend that has emerged from within the conflict-dominated communities of Afghanistan in the east and south part of the country, and that is the tribal uprising that has emerged against the insurgents and the Taliban. This uprising is a real phenomenon and trend that has emerged. It is not something that is promoted or projected by the government in the state of Afghanistan. It is something that the people who had sympathy towards the Taliban, at least, or who were providing shelters and hideouts for the Taliban in the past 10 years, that those Taliban operate in their territories, right now they have stood against these the insurgents. And of course, you should not expect that this tribal awakening this tribal uprising in Afghanistan should answer like the tribal awakening in Iraq, because there is a huge and strong difference between the community structure of Afghanistan and the community structure of Iraq. In Iraq, if you just go and see the tribal awakening, why that answered very fast. The first issue was because there are huge and strong tribes in Iraq. From one tribe that started its awakening against Al-Qaeda and the insurgents, the Abu Risha tribe, in the first hand they could gather 20,000 fighters against Al-Qaeda operatives. But in Afghanistan we have a small tribal system. We have a tribal system that consists of smaller tribes, and you have to project like a phenomena like the uprising that we currently see in Afghanistan through these small tribes. And of course, it gets a momentum in a long time. So for that reason, we can see that the people no longer, those who even had some sort of ideological or tribal sympathy towards the insurgents in this country, now they no longer really wants to have to experience that even the life that their ideologic those who are those who are thinking the same, they want to bring for them. And the fourth point that as a reason for this survival of Afghanistan I want to mention is the change and in the vision of many of the stakeholders, international and regional stakeholders, about Afghanistan. Today we are not in Afghanistan which was in 1990s, which was an isolated Afghanistan, which never came to show the world that an Afghanistan isolated, a house for Al-Qaeda, and the insurgents could a day threaten the national security of the superpower of the world, the United States. We did not have such an Afghanistan. But in the past 10 years, of course, the international community, especially leading powers such as the United States, they have faced that things the trends that are emerging in Afghanistan security-wise, it could and it would have impact on the global security, international security, and national security of these globalized powers who are much more connected in today's world to each other. For that reason, I believe these are various reasons that many Afghans in the elite community and many Afghans in Kabul and around the country, they are hopeful about the future. But certainly you should not forget that we have serious challenges ahead, which we should go forward and, of course, face them as Afghans. I'm not talking as Americans, because right now, if you talk about to various diplomats in Kabul from the international community, they are talking of a run out, the time that is running out in Afghanistan. For them, it is running out because it is the longest war of the United States that's going on. And of course, for every politician, the first rule is to safeguard their seats. And in Washington, you can't expect to see much sympathy and a central focal point on Afghanistan in this war. But for Afghans, I think while there are major challenges that we have to face, the time is not running out. I want to say that in 2014, when we survive, what is the key to success to go beyond 2014 and to go to 2024 and for a long life of Afghanistan? That is a stable transfer of power. That is a stable transfer of the leadership in this country, which we need now. Although our leadership, on their potential, they have acted well, but certainly a new leadership can give a new direction to Afghanistan, and we need that. And constitutionally, and for the rule of law, and for a democracy that should survive in Afghanistan, we have to go forward to a stable transfer of power in elections. The good news from Afghanistan is that our ICL, Independent Electoral Commission, recently announced the date for our 2014 elections. And of course, now if you go in Kabul and around the country, in various political circles, now you can feel the momentum of the political process that people are expecting. Coalitions are being formed, and now that there are many stakeholders who are talking to each other for a transfer of power in 2014. I believe this is a very key issue, and it needs an international support. And of course, if I have time, I'll go through this key issue after in the next sessions. But on the challenges, I just want to go very shortly on the challenges that we are facing and why we are facing these challenges. The first major challenge that we are facing in today's Afghanistan is our economy. Right in the past 10 years, our economy has been more of an aid-dependent economy. But in the decade of transition, every stakeholder in Afghanistan has felt that we have to go towards a transition to a more production-based economy, where Afghanistan should be able to survive and sustain on its own in the next decade. The second issue is that everyone has talked, because of all these international media postures and reports about an Afghanistan which will certainly be a failed state, an Afghanistan which will not be able to survive. I mean, there needs to be a public perception management in Afghanistan. I believe for many Afghans outside the elite community, it's now a question that, okay, what will really happen after 2014? For that reason, while there should be, and there are clear messages that Afghanistan has gone to strategic partnership with various international stakeholders. Afghanistan is now considered a major non-NATO ally of the United States, and Afghanistan has started negotiations on a security pact which will pave the way for international security presence in the country in a decade long. I believe we have to convey a message to the Afghans, to the general public and population who are supporting democracy, who are participating in elections, that Afghanistan will survive and it will go on beyond 2014. And the third point, which comes to belong to our foreign policy, is that we have to work with many regional, some of our regional, neighboring countries to change their vision of Afghanistan from a security-centric vision to a broader vision, considering economic perspective of Afghanistan and considering other roles that Afghanistan can play for them. And I want to be specific on this issue, is that we can work and we should work with Pakistan, that the current Afghanistan has changed. And of course, we have in this elite political circle in Pakistan should understand these changes and transformations in Afghanistan and have to work with us beyond a security-centric viewpoint. Thank you very much.